So this set of poems is can be actually quite difficult to read if you don't read the key bit of information at the top. The following two poems are both associated with peace. Therefore, this should frame how you're going to read this. Now, you don't always get this little bit of gem information, but good to have when you get it. I'm not going to read the poem out for you. I'm sure you guys can all read poems yourself, but there are a few things that I would start to be taking note of. Firstly, take note of what the purpose and the tone of is in each stanza. In this first poem, they're really kind of talking a lot. There's a lot of imagery, a lot of kind of depictions of what peace may be perceived as in a sort of in an imaginative sense. And then we come to this sort of almost like there's a person here telling us of their expectations of peace and whether or not this is possible. The key bit to get to is this conclusion where they say, will work be done and night's rest earned for us? And shall we wake to see sunrise again? Or shall we sleep to see and know no more? This concept that peace is foreign, they don't really understand the concept of it or what will happen or what it means for them. The second poem talks more about once again, elements of peace, but not so much as the imagery of peace that we saw in the first paragraph. What this actually talks about is all the things that society would deem to be great: rank with all its dower, pomp with all its train, wealth with all its power. Give I these again. So someone's saying, I would love to have all of this. Okay, race with all its story, place with all its ease, fame with all its glory, give I also these. So I would love to have all of these things: a great story, a great race, comfortability, fame, and all of that stuff. Would love it. But in the last stanza, we get once again to the conclusion. Ask I for them never. So I would never ask for them. I would happily forget them, get rid of them all, just give me peace. Okay, so it's a brief, gross reading of this sort of a passage. Moving to the first paragraph, peace can be a lens through which we see the world. Okay. Now, which of the poem best aligns with this saying? So we got poem 1, poem 2, poem, and then B and C. Okay. So we need to find where we can see peace can be a lens through which we see the world. Do we see peace? Okay. Looking at this, we need to look at the individual's perceptions of peace. Okay. Now, the last stanza of the first paragraph confuses us in this element. No ring of the woodman's axe, no dip of all. Will work be done and night's rest earned for us? And shall we wake to see sunrise again, or shall we sleep to know no more? Okay, this is an understanding that this person doesn't actually understand peace. It's not a lens through which they can see the world. It's a lens that they can't see. They're trying to understand this lens, but they can't get it. Okay, so this person cannot see the lens of peace through the lens of peace. Okay, because they cannot comprehend it. If they could see through it, they wouldn't be asking these questions. So in poem 1, I'm doubtful to say that there is a lens of peace. Contrasting the second paragraph, once again going to the sort of contention of peace being in the last stanza, ask I for them never, let their memory cease, take them all forever, leave me only peace. This indicates that the author here has an understanding of peace and would prefer it to all this rank with all its dower, pomp with all its train, all of that sort of stuff. That it has a comprehension of peace, a lens of peace that it understands, and it's the most preferential lens. Therefore, I'm more likely to pick poem 2. Okay. In poem 1, what is the tone? Okay, so we go back to poem 1. We've got this imagery on the first stanza: red rose flush fades slowly into the west, golden water basking in the light. There's this sort of admirative tone that's occurring throughout here, in the beauty of the language, in the use of colors, in even the things that it's describing: light, silver white, flame crowned crest. There is admiration, there is beauty in this tone. Okay, now beauty is very rarely a tone, but it's an admirative of the beauty. Okay, do I see admiration here? Curious, inspired, perhaps. But there's nothing to indicate. Inspired means that I'm willing to take action, like I'm willing to do something, I'm willing to have this. There's no this beauty doesn't have any purpose. It's just talking about beauty for beauty's sake and admiring it, rather than saying, because of this beauty, I'm going to go do something now. So therefore, inspired isn't really right. Nonchalant, obviously not. If you're describing such beauty, then there's some degree of investment, and nonchalantness doesn't make sense. And of course, regretful then as well doesn't make sense either, because there's no element of that past. I wish I had this. I wish I'd done that. If there's no element of the past as well, and there's no element of sorrow or all of that. So at the moment, curious, but I'm not seeing curious in the first stanza because there is no curiosity. The curiosity comes in the second stanza with this ring of questionings. Will our life's eves come thus? Okay. Will work be done at night for us? Shall we wake to see the sunrise again? All these questions, this curious element that pertains to the beauty that talked about in the first stanza, that then brings in a curious tone. So therefore, curious is the most correct answer. We get to the last question. Poem 2, the speaker is. Okay, so straight up looking at the fact that the first two paragraphs are quite joyous. And quite upbeat, and rank with all its dower, pomp with all its train, wealth with all its power. So I would love all these sorts of things. These are great. I would have them. Give me them. That's all for me. Okay, so straight up, solemn doesn't sound right. Okay, and unrepenting also does not sound right. What is solemn being sort of grim? What is really grim about any of this? I don't really see it. So therefore, I don't really think it's the best response. And unrepenting, sort of hammering down, like this you can't feel. There's no element of unrepenting here. So there's either sort of accepting or reluctant. Are they reluctant? So then we get to the last stanza. Ask for them never, let their memory cease. So that let their memory cease can be read as reluctant, like resigning to it. But then that definitive, take them all forever, leave me only peace. There's no reluctancy there. There's definitiveness, like I want that gone, give me my peace. So that therefore is accepting is the most correct answer. They're accepting that I would get rid of all of that because I want my peace. I accept that I will have that. So therefore, the most correct response is accepting.